What's going on, guys? Today is a very exciting day. Cleanspark's rallying, the Bitcoin miners are doing very well today, and Bitcoin is right near its resistance. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what's going on with Cleanspark. We do have earnings coming up. And in a previous video, I showed you guys that earnings was coming out in December. Well, it's actually coming out in just a few days. We just received a press release going over earnings coming up, so I'm going to talk about that. We also have a mining update coming out in just a few days. I'll touch on what I expect there as well. So let's go over Bitcoin and Cleanspark. If you guys like these videos, I definitely appreciate your support. Consider checking out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos, and consider joining my membership. It's only $2 a month, and I'm going to be working on exclusive stuff for members, so look out for that. Now, Bitcoin is right at 38,000, and what I really want to see is a candle close above this resistance line. You'll notice that with all this consolidation, the RSI has reset a bit. So if we do see a break above 38,000 into 38.5, we could potentially see a little run here before we start cooling off. And just look at Cleanspark, a clean, beautiful break out of this long-term descending resistance, this long descending channel we've been stuck in ever since we were back in the 8s in summer. And you can see that the market clearly reacted to a break of this pattern. Now, I would be very cautious here, guys, just because it's doing this right before earnings. We actually have earnings coming out on Thursday, on November 30th, and I'm a little hesitant here. I'm a little cautious here just because we're rallying up to earnings. And one thing you have to realize is this is their earnings going off of pretty much late summer, back when Bitcoin was trading anywhere from 25 to 30,000. But one thing I'm really looking forward to on this coming up earnings is their outlook, because with Bitcoin's recent move upwards, the execs can give a really good outlook for revenue. And who knows, maybe they even mention profitability coming soon. I do think if Bitcoin continues to appreciate in price, Cleanspark will see profitability before the halving. And I do believe them giving good forward guidance on revenue could be what can continue to keep Cleanspark pushing. But I would be very cautious here, because when they gave their Q3 outlook, right after that, Bitcoin was essentially pulling back. So I'm not all that certain that they're going to hit this 53 million expected revenue, and the market may react negatively if they miss their revenue estimate. But just look at what we're seeing. That's actually a record revenue. Even if they don't hit that revenue, they will likely see a record all-time revenue. Last quarter was a 45 million. I believe as long as we can push past 45 million, Cleanspark will have a record revenue, but they may not hit this estimated, 53 million. But I do believe their next revenue estimate for the next quarter is going to be much, much higher, seeing that Bitcoin has appreciated so much in price since their last earnings, since their last update on revenue. So long story short, I'd be very hesitant, very careful with Cleanspark here. It is overbought on the RSI now. And last time we saw a spike like this, we did see a pretty drastic pullback. Just be cautious here. While I wouldn't be surprised to see Cleanspark at $10 by the end of the year, I also wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback, a little retracement before then. And another thing we have coming right around the corner is their next mining update. And this will go over all their mining that they did in November. And I want to turn you to their last mining update. They did give us an operational update, and it gives us some insight into future machines coming online. We had an update on Sandersville where no serious delays were reported, and construction remains on track for an expected year-end completion. And the racks that hold all the Bitcoin miners are actually installed in buildings 1, 2, and 3. Most of the conduit has been installed site-wide, and the majority of concrete has been poured for the additional remaining buildings. And the Senior Vice President of Growth, Scott Garrison, said that over the coming weeks, the remaining structures are expected to rapidly pass through various stages of construction as multiple trades work together to build what we believe will be the largest digital asset data center in Georgia. Keywords, over the coming weeks. So do you think some of these buildings in Sandersville will be installed and hashing? Or do you think we're going to have to wait until December's Bitcoin mining update? And whether we have to wait or not, whether we see a huge increase in Bitcoin mined or not, the hash rate increase is approaching. They will continue to build up that hash rate as we approach the halving. And I do expect earnings leading up to halving. I believe we have this earnings and at least one more before halving. They will give us a lot of insight into what to expect coming up to the halving. And not in this earnings call coming up on the 30th, but in the next call, they may give us some insight into what happens when their rewards get cut in half. Where will their exahash be by then? Will they get to that 16 exahash that was previously the year-end goal but got delayed because of power providers? And you got to realize that Bitcoin's appreciation in price up to the halving, plus Cleanspark getting more efficient machines online and increasing their hash rate, all of those things will combine to mitigate the fact that these miners will take half as much as rewards. I mean, does it really matter if they're taking half as much rewards if Bitcoin's pushing 60, 65,000? That's the equivalent of Bitcoin being at around 30,000 in current day before the halving. And we know that Cleanspark, along with many other Bitcoin miners, they survived right through Bitcoin's price all the way down to 15,000. So the halving, I believe, won't hurt these miners. I think the bigger picture here is the halving always brings much higher Bitcoin prices, and the halving is what kicks off the Bitcoin bull run, which is exactly what we want to see for these miners. But let me know what you think. Do you think the halving will drastically hurt these miners, being that they're going to get half as much rewards? I think the bigger picture here is actually the opposite. The halving coming in, giving these miners half as much rewards. The negative there will be overshadowed by Bitcoin's huge appreciation in price that is coming up throughout 2024 and 2025. But how do you think Cleanspark will do for their upcoming earnings? It's definitely going to be a very exciting call. We're going to see some interesting forward guidance. And look out for their Bitcoin mining update. It should be coming out any day now. Thanks as always for watching, guys. Let me know what you're doing with Cleanspark currently, and just be cautious coming up to earnings. We are a bit overbought now, and even with some good earnings results, we could potentially see a sell-off just due to the fact that we ran so much coming up to earnings. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.